Nick Leeson, one of the most infamous traders in the history of Wall Street. In 1995, he was said to have brought down Barings Bank by betting and losing more than $1.3 billion. The rogue trader, now working for celebpoker.com, an internet gambling site, is one of several celebrities offered up as an opponent for those who would choose to compete with them online. Joining us now from Galway, Ireland, is Mr. Nick Leeson. Mr. Leeson, why the decision to come back into public eye by way of an online poker website?
Well, when I returned from Singapore, one of the things that really struck me at the time was the rise of the online gaming industry. I'd started to play poker a bit online myself, and then I was fortunate enough to become associated with Celeb Poker. It offers me an avenue to earn some income at the moment.
Do you believe, I want to go back a bit to what got you to where you are today. Do you believe that there have been changes on Wall Street that would prevent somebody today from doing what you were able to do at Barings?
I'm sure there have been. The checks that should have been put on my operation in Singapore were very, very simple checks. Things you would have learned in your first week on the job. And I'm sure that those controls are in place now. But you do see this sort of thing happening again. A few years back, a currency trader at All First Financial in Baltimore lost his firm $700 million. And foreign exchange traders dragged the National Australia Bank into a $360 million loss. So it does recur. And the only reason it can recur is with the same level of negligence and incompetence that was throughout the whole experience of Barings at the time.
So the greed and avarice of the rogue trader have nothing to do with it then?
Of course, the greed and avarice have to go with it. But incompetence is at the forefront of all that as well. And is in all of these cases.
Tell us, Nick, do you fancy yourself a good poker player?
You'll have to come online and find out. I think I'm probably the person who gives it away more easily of all the celebrities that they have amassed on the site. I tend to get a little more involved in the interactive stuff. You know, you can chat online and have a bit of a laugh while you're playing. That probably interests me a little bit more at the moment. But I'm certainly more careful with my money than I was when I was at Barings.
So the idea is that anyone can log on and try and play a game of poker with you. Are you playing with your own money when you do this?
I do play with my own money. Celeb Poker very kindly do give me an amount every quarter, but I tend to lose it in the first couple of weeks, so I have to top it up with my own. It's a great environment, and for anybody coming in, it's completely anonymous. You don't have to go into a card room. It's in the comfort of your own home, so it's a great way to move the game forward. And poker's such a trendy game at the moment as well, so I can only see it growing.
When you're losing your game of poker, much as you were losing on the markets in Asia, do you still have that same inclination to re-up the trade? Or do you know when to fold them now?
No, I've curbed that a little bit. My wife keeps hold of the credit cards, so she makes sure I can't put too much money in the account. So, no, things are a lot safer these days. I'm very mindful of what I do now.
What kind of chat do you hear from people when you're playing with them? And how many people do you play a month?
I tend to play in games where there's 5 players, but there are other tables where there's 10, so there's generally 1 or 2 people on a table who want to talk to you. They want to know what it was like to lose all that money, and they want to know what you're doing now. You know, I've had lots of different life experiences as well, not just the collapse of the bank. I was diagnosed with cancer while I was in prison as well, so sometimes you get people asking those sorts of questions. It's just whatever interests them, and, you know, I'm there to answer their questions. But they can choose from at least 30 other interesting characters to play with as well.
I'm assuming that when you're in the process of watching the loss of $1.3 billion of someone else's money that you want to throw up.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the most embarrassing period of my life, and something I'm having to come to terms with all the time. Quite how I used to go from one day to the next is kind of beyond me now, when I look back. You know, I was never trying to make any money or take any money for myself. I was only ever trying to get out of the situation. But as the controls weren't there, all I ever managed to do was dig myself deeper and deeper into trouble.
All right, Mr. Leeson, a pleasure. Thanks for your time. Nick Leeson with us from Galway, Ireland. Coming up next on Bullseye, America's healthcare industry is getting away with murder. Truth or hype? Find out when we come back.